What is going on, everybody? Play Like a Jet live with you uSTADIUM. Thanks for joining in on this Wednesday night. I'm here with Clay. Clay, despite the Jets' performance on Sunday, how you doing, man?
I'm actually pretty tired, man. I just told you beforehand. I just traveled all day yesterday. Got caught up with work today, and now I'm just kind of out of it. But we gotta talk some Jets, even though it was a putrid performance of the one half that I did watch.
Yeah, it was a great present for Clay. It was Clay's birthday yesterday. The Jets put on a show for him on Sunday, so a little early birthday present. Guys, before we get into it, just want to thank everyone for supporting us here, Play Like a Jet Live and uSTADIUM. There's so many ways you can help us run. You've got the sports desk with Splash and Jack. Tons of great content. Check them out.
I just want
to
sorry. I just wanted to hit on the super stickers real quick. I've never asked for them, guys. This is my birthday. Give us a present. I mean, it's not just to me. It's going to Luke and the guys, so help us out. Just a little.
You heard it here. Clay's birthday present. Make sure you hit him up. Super stickers just down in the chat bottom right-hand corner on YouTube. If you're watching us on Twitch, big thank you to those guys as well. And happy birthday to Clay for yesterday. Clay, let's get into the game now. I know you watched the first half. You were on the move a lot. Zach Wilson started his first two throws were interceptions. It just compounded quickly. He threw 5 passes to start the game, 2 completions, 5 interceptions. Not one ball hit the ground.
3 interceptions.
Great efficiency. 3 interceptions, sorry. Great efficiency. Not a single ball hit the dirt. But look, in all seriousness, it was a tough day. It wasn't so much Bill Belichick out scheming him. It was a rookie quarterback being put in some bad situations, having some drops from receivers, and then just compounded into a poor performance.
Yeah, I mean, the drop passes have to stop. I mean, I don't care if it's a hard catch. When it hits both your hands, I don't care if it's hard or not. You got to come down with it. Yeah, and it's just obviously the first one was just an unfortunate bounce or 2 bounces that went right to J.C. Jackson. And then don't get me wrong, Wilson made some bad decisions, bad throws, and he played like a rookie. Like that's what he did. And when he played like a rookie and other guys aren't helping, it's just not a good combination. And that's how you put up 6 points in the NFL. But what was encouraging to see was the run game stepped up despite Wilson not being able to really have a good game. And then offensive line outside of Greg Van Roten. I'm sticking with it, guys. I need to do it. I'm over it. But yeah, outside of him, the offensive line looked like they played pretty well. Kept Wilson definitely more upright than they kept him against Carolina. I think, what did they give up? 2 sacks?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, so I mean, there's good things to take away from it, but sticking with Wilson, he does need to play better. But I'm not going to put it all on him. I know some people want to say he's a bust and the Jets can't get anything good. Why do they suck? And it's 2 games, guys. Like, please and it's against Bill Belichick, who's, I don't know, like maybe the greatest head coach in any sport ever. And probably the best coach against a rookie quarterback in NFL history. We saw what Darnold did against them as a rookie. I think he had even a worse performance than Zach Wilson. And I mean, I still think Darnold can turn out pretty well. I don't know about you guys, but it's just way too early. And I think people just need to take a deep breath, which I think they've done over the last 3 days. Yeah. I think you can kind of just all right, it's a bad game. Get it out of the way. Move on to Denver, which probably isn't going to get any easier. But then we'll get to Tennessee and Atlanta, and that should get a little easier for us.
Here's my philosophy on Denver, though. I don't want to preview the game too much because we'll get into that the back half of the show, Clay. But Denver play cover 2. They play 2 high safeties, not what New England do a ton of. You see more cover 1 man.
Yeah.
This may be the week that Mike LaFleur says, okay, I need to get into a rhythm, more West Coast offense, get the ball out of his hands quickly, take what the offense gives us, because that's what Denver forces you to do. That could be a good thing for Zach Wilson and for LaFleur.
Absolutely. I mean, I keep saying to people, like, why are they not going to the short game? Like, that's what Wilson was doing in the preseason. I know it was like a vanilla offense, but like he was highly successful in the preseason. Just work with what he has right now. And I mean, you're trying to do too much with him. Like, I know I was advocating for the deep shot all throughout preseason that we never got, but it seems like early in the game, that's all they're trying to do now. And like, that's not how you grow confidence from a young quarterback who's now had hopefully the worst game of his entire career, even over the next 10, 12 plus years. Like, it was a bad performance, just more so statistically than anything, but you got to help him grow his confidence, get these short thinking dunks. I don't care if people are like advocating for the deep ball. get him in a rhythm, get your playmakers the ball in space. Like, why is Elijah Moore not getting a screen, not getting a quick slant? I mean, he might have in the second half. Like I said, I didn't watch. But like, get these guys in space and let them go to work. And hopefully Jameson Crowder comes back next week, because he'll be, obviously we know what he can do in the short and intermediate game. So you just got to get him into a rhythm. And yeah, I think them playing a cover 2 defense and without Bradley Chubb too. So hopefully they don't get as much pressure as they would if he was on the field. It's just, yeah, they have to get something going offensively. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. 20 points in 2 games is not ideal, to say the least.
Yeah, I was just on the All Gas No Break podcast with Justin, Chris, and Mo. So thanks to those guys for having me. And we had a discussion, Clay, about if you'd rather see your rookie quarterback be taken care of like Mac Jones, where you may be limiting his ceiling, but you're taking care of him and baby him, for lack of a better word, or Zach Wilson, who has the full offense and they're throwing everything at him. And the comparison that I made was that even if Zach Wilson was doing what Mac Jones was, when the play breaks down, Zach Wilson isn't getting out of the pocket and spiking the ball behind him or throwing it at his own feet for an intentional grounding. They're going to turn into touchdowns because that's what Zach Wilson does well. So even if you're giving him so many of these quick passing game, 5-yard hitch, let's throw a swing pass, a little jet sweep to Elijah Moore, he'll still find a way naturally to have those big plays in the offense.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think, yeah, you kind of just nailed it on the head. I do think it is better to kind of not baby him, but maybe not open up the entire offense right away. And just that way he can kind of just get a handle on things and then like slowly start opening up as the season goes on. And then by week 6, 7, 8, then he can have the whole offense and maybe feel more comfortable with the stuff that he has been doing for the last 5, 6 weeks or so. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I'm not worried about him. I know you aren't worried about him either. There might be a couple people that we've talked to that are worried, but I think everyone's just got to take a deep breath. We'll be okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Let's take a step backwards now and look at the Jets team as a whole on the weekend, Clay, because I've been on the opinion since after I watched the game back on Monday afternoon for me, that the Jets, and this sounds stupid, so let me finish the entire sentence. The Jets played well on Sunday. The Jets football team had a good game. I thought Ulbrich and Sulla did a good job. Defensive line was good. Offensive line was good. Corners were great for the second week in a row. It was just that Zach Wilson played very poorly and there were some drops from the receivers. Outside of those two position groups, I actually thought the Jets played well. Talk to me about some of the things that impressed you, particularly in the first half. I thought the offensive and defensive lines really won up front.
Yeah, obviously I believe the Patriots started with the ball. Yeah, so that first defensive possession, I thought they did a good job. The refs really screwed them over with that early blown whistle. That could have changed the game completely, and we would have had the ball inside the 30-yard line. And who knows what happens there? Maybe Wilson gets into a groove and everything takes off. But yeah, the defense did a good job. What they're showing early on is a bend don't break type mentality, which, I mean, it's good. It's good, definitely good to have.
Yeah,
but we're also not causing any turnovers.
Correct. But I think some of that's the offenses they've played. I mean, Carolina is so heavily run through Christian McCaffrey. How many times have we seen James White have 8,000?
Yeah, I mean, the running backs led in receiving both games.
And here's an interesting stat. So the Jets corners have allowed the 30th in the league as far as amount of passing yards for the team. So 49% of the Jets passing yards allowed have been allowed by cornerbacks. That is the second or third best in the NFL, the third best. The running backs have accounted for the third most in the NFL percentage-wise. So it's a concern in that area, but at the same time, I thought the Jets did a much better job handling James White because they didn't ask CJ Mosley to go one-on-one on Texas routes. And look, he's running an angle option route. You go and stop him one-on-one. And as a result, CJ Mosley was fantastic on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not all too surprised that running backs are kind of doing this to us because look at the linebacker group we have. I mean, Mosley, we really like him. He's a good player, even after barely playing over the last 2 years. But we've dealt with injuries. Like Sherwood's been out. Cashman's been out. Hamza, he's having some rookie struggles. You get Quincy Williams, and he had a great play on a pass. I guess you can call it a pass breakup when he just blew up James White.
Yep.
But we keep rotating new guys, and we can't just. They're depth pieces. They're not guys that are supposed to be out on the field for 50 plus times a game. But that's what they're doing. And these teams that have these running back, that those receiving threats out of the backfield, they're taking advantage of it. We saw it with McCaffrey, saw it with James White. Hopefully, Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams don't really do that all that much.
Yeah.
Because that's not really a part of their game as much as White and McCaffrey for sure. But yeah, sorry, I was just going to the rant about the linebackers. But yeah, going back to the corners, you said they had a great game. Michael Carter, again, I've been really impressed with him. It seems like I believe PFF has him giving up 9 receptions on 11 targets. People are going to see that as like, oh, he's not very good, but he's keeping it all in front of him.
4 yards per reception.
Yeah, exactly. Like, like people are going to see like, oh, he's giving up catches every time. That might be true, but if it's 4, 5, 6 yards per reception, like, we'll take that any day of the week. Granted, you don't want them to target him every single time and then it's a pass for 5, 6 yards every single time, because then it'll just be first down. But but no, he's done a great job. Bryce Hall's done a great job on the outside. I'm still shocked at how, like, obviously they haven't been dominant, but just how well they've been playing, because everyone's been downplaying them, and the only people that haven't have been the coaches. So it's really good to see. I'm glad. I'm just glad that they're able to do this even without a safety presence like Joyner, and even Ashton Davis has been out, and like we'll see what he can do when he gets back healthy. But like Redwine's been terrible. And I know you said Colbert, like he played pretty well last week. I didn't notice him, but no, I'm happy to see that the corners are actually stepping up, and especially with being such a young group.
So here's the thing for the defense on the whole. These numbers might be slightly off and going off the top of my head, but they're 10th in total defense, 11th in scoring defense, and that's despite the Jets turning the ball over 6 times through the first 2 games. To have that caliber of scoring defense when you've been given so many short fields to work with is very impressive. And Clay, something like 40% of the Jets' total yards have been led up by backups. Quincy Williams, Colbert, Redwine had the long touchdown throw against Robbie Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
And then against the Patriots, that run, which, look, a great run from number 28.
Damian Harris.
Thank you, Damian Harris. I don't even think he's 28. I think I'm on a different planet this morning. But that touchdown run, he went through Colbert and he went through Quincy Williams, and then Michael Carter tried to stop him. So there you go, Splash. 10th in scoring D, 9th in total D. So around that mark, extremely impressive when the people who have been liabilities have been backups, which, look, they're going to be playing because Carl Lawson isn't coming back anytime soon. Joyner isn't coming back anytime soon, but it's still impressive on the whole.
Yeah. And I'm actually looking, like, I'm not like a huge stats person, but I am looking at the rushing stats from the Patriots last week. 24 for a 101. And Damian Harris on that run that you just alluded to was a 26-yard run.
Mm-hmm.
So like without that, quick math, 23 for 75.
Maybe. Yep.
Like that's just over 3 yards a carry. And considering that we are missing a lot of guys, and especially with the linebacker group, like it's not a good linebacker group, even if we are healthy. And they're doing a really good job. The bend don't break is a great mentality to have, but I also just want to hopefully get some turnovers mixed in, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe the only one was when Darnold hit it out of his own hand. It wasn't anything that we did. Yeah.
Let's have a look quickly at the other side of the ball. We've already prefaced the offensive line and their improved play outside of GBR. Morgan Moses was really good. Who would have thought that Morgan Moses would come in and play well at right tackle? But that's what we saw. I thought George Fant was really good in the run game. He was pretty good. I think he graded out better than Morgan Moses in week 2, but he had a couple of costly penalties. He gave up a sack and had a holding penalty as well, had a false start. So I thought he was fairly good. We already mentioned the interior guys. Connor McGovern, the highest graded center for PFF this week. Elijah Verataka was spectacular in the run game. I have a video up on Play Like a Jet on YouTube if you want to check that out, looking at AVT in the run game. But Clay, if the Jets can do that against Denver, who, as you mentioned, are sans Bradley Chubb now, they really only have Von Miller, Shelby Harris up front. I think they can be competitive in this football game if they can play better like they did in week 2.
Yeah, I think they can absolutely be in this game. I mean, the Broncos are 2-0, yeah, but they went against the Jaguars and the Giants. And I understand the Jets are in that same category. I just want to say that before anyone jumps on me. I understand the Jets are not a good team, and they are in the same category as those teams. Like, as we mentioned, they scored 20 points. They're 2-16 in the last 18 games. So, yeah, I understand. But, like, the Broncos are they're not. It's just not a scary team. Like I know they have a good defense. They have one of the better defensive coordinators as a head coach in Vic Fangio, but I think they can really limit this offense too. And we know Judy's out. Cortland Sutton, he's a great player. I think he's going to give us more trouble than anyone else so far. I'm curious to see how. I'm assuming they're going to put Bryce Hall on him, so that'll be interesting to see. But for our offense, I really do think that we can. I think we can move the ball on them. They have some good players. Von Miller, Pat Surtain, he had his first career interception, I believe. Yeah, this past week against Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. Justin Simmons, we know he's not the greatest tackler after seeing what Sam Darnold did to him last year. I will never forget that run. But no, I really do think we can move the ball and actually get something going this week. I will get into the predictions later on, but I do think that they will score their most points of the season in this upcoming game.
It's a high bar. We're sitting here at Play Like a Jet Live. We think the Jets are going to score 16 points or more this week. That's 14 points.
Yeah. Yeah. Splash, you can take off that Greg Van Roten grading at the bottom. We don't want to talk about him. But no, I mean, I do think that the Broncos record doesn't really show who they really are. And I think they just play like a safe game right now. Like Teddy Bridgewater, we know what he is. He's not like a gunslinger. He's gonna honestly, he's kind of gonna do what Darnold and Mac Jones did. Like I think he's gonna play it safe. I think they're gonna try to establish the run with Williams and Gordon. They have a nice duo there, and then Sutton. I think he's just gonna be the main guy. But actually, the person I'd be most worried about might be Noah Fant. At the tight end position. I'm curious to see because I know we went against 2 tight ends last week, but like that was a team that was going to take advantage of our weak spots, and that was using the running back, and that was running the ball and all that. But I do think that Noah Fant might be our biggest worry on offense on our defense.
The good news is that Marcus May will probably match up with him in man coverage. Look, when they go to cover 1, I think he'll slide down to the box and defend him. Marcus May has trouble in the red zones against these bigger tight ends who are more physical. And Noah Fant is more a straight line kind of guy. I'm going to run down the seam and try and beat you vertically. Yeah. So I don't think it's the worst matchup for the Jets. Cortland Sutton, though, you talked about how Teddy traditionally has been a safe quarterback. He actually took some shots against the Jags. A lot of them, though, the Broncos are running these 3-by-1 sets. Cortland Sutton on the backside. They're looking to isolate him and then hit him deep down the boundary. You saw them go to that a couple of times. But in saying that, Cortland Sutton was limping around the field a fair bit on Sunday. He was banged up, had the reconstructed knee last season. So there's some concerns there. Obviously, Judy already out. And Clay, I love the matchup for us. KJ Hamler against Michael Carter II in the slot. I think that'll be a really fun one too.
Yeah, I mean, you already know how I feel that's going to go. I mean, and like that, like bias aside, like I'm not like the biggest KJ Hamler fan. I think a lot of people just got caught up with him because he was so fast at Penn State. Yeah. But Michael Carter II is also pretty fast, and I think that's going to be a good matchup. I think if I'm worried about anyone on the defense, it's I don't know. Javelin Guidry. He seems to struggle when he gets down the field.
Yeah, in the dime. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I will say I haven't really paid attention as to where he's lining up when those deep shots happen. I just noticed like he's been struggling. Some of them has just been bad luck. Like the DJ Moore pass, like that was pretty good coverage. It was just a perfect ball.
Yeah.
But like I noticed he doesn't really turn for the ball, and it's going to cause either big plays or big penalties more often than not. And we know that the refs are not shy about throwing out those yellow flags. So I'd say Guidry. I feel like if Hamler's going to beat any of them, I think it'd be Guidry. And even though Guidry's the fastest player to keep up with him.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because Pat Shermer's played the least 11 personnel he ever has in his coaching career. It's only sitting around 50%. He's been running a lot of 12 and 13 personnel, which the Jets have been well equipped to handle, obviously playing New England last week. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle those questions that they're going to do Denver that they're going to ask and propose of the Jets defense, because it's probably not traditionally what Denver have done a ton of. And I don't think Guidry is going to have a big role to play, who we just mentioned, because I think you're going to see Noah and also Albert O on the field a lot in these 12 personnel looks. The question for me is, though, Clay, do you want to have your base defense on the field with Quincy Williams, or do you just want to play nickel and say, if you want to run the ball on us, try and run the ball on us. We believe in our stunts and our system up front, because, man, Quincy Williams, if they start going play action, you don't want him on the field against one of their running backs or Noah Fant or Albert O, who are great athletes.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's a good point you bring up. I don't know. I don't typically like going small, just because teams, especially against a team like this, because they want to establish the run. They want to. And when you go small, they're more likely to actually establish a run. And then they can play off that with a play action pass and maybe hit a deep shot down later in the game. So, I mean, I don't know. It's like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I think with this team, like, you could try it, because I do believe in the front. I know people aren't. Oh, thanks, Sal, man. Appreciate
what
that.
a legend. That for everyone who hasn't seen it, that's a super sticker. That's a chat right there. A huge thank you. Clay's birthday. Looking out for our guy. Appreciate your support. He's here every single week supporting the Play Like a Jet live team,
Yes, he is.
supporting
Appreciate
uSTADIUM. So a huge thank you, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do believe in the front. I know people are kind of worried about Quinn Williams, but he actually hasn't been terrible. He just hasn't played like an All-Pro. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean,
in 60 snaps in 2 weeks as well, coming off foot surgery. Just everyone.
Yeah, coming off of foot surgery, and he had 3 weeks to practice. In training camp, if that. I don't know off the top of my head. Thank you, Nick. But yeah, I'm still not worried about Quinnen. Not worried about Foley, especially in the run game.
No.
John Franklin Myers, he actually might be our best player, like through 2 games. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's really crazy to say that I think he's been the best player through the first 2 games of the week.
But the good thing is, I thought Bryce Huff looked really good on the weekend again. I think he's got a pass rushing grade in the mid-80s for PFF. On the Marcus May sack where he came on a blitz on the left side, it was actually the reason that Mac Jones couldn't step up is because Bryce Hall ran the corner so well on the right side of the line. Quinn Williams is getting there. Sheldon Rankins was the reason for JFM's sack. That was actually a stunt where he ran the lead really well, took out 2 offensive linemen. It's a really good group, Clay. I thought Shaq Lawson was everywhere in the run game as well. So
yeah, and I know Lawson had a roughing the passer that kind of hurt one of the drives.
If you want to call it that.
Yeah. But no, as you see here at the bottom of the screen, Franklin Myers and Fadakasi with 80+ grades on PFF. I mean, I'm not the biggest PFF advocate, but it is a good kind of benchmark to kind of see like how the guy is doing, good or bad. So yeah, I think with this front, I'm a little more comfortable with playing smaller, because I really do believe in them, and they can fill up the gaps pretty well. And obviously with CJ Mosley right behind them too.
Let's talk a little bit about the offense against Denver, because I think Corey Davis was shut down. No one was particularly surprised by that against New England. He had a couple of drops, which was disappointing, but we still have faith in him. Elijah Moore looked like he's on the verge of getting loose, though. You talked about not scheming up touches. Despite that, he still looked like he was going to be that explosive guy. He should have had a 60-yard touchdown on the slot wheel, but I really think this is the week that one of those guys has a breakout game. And then the other thing I want to talk about, and Nick commented about it just before, is the running back group. I think Mike LaFleur finally got it right. I say finally, it's been 2 weeks. That's pretty impatient of me, but he got it right in week 2, running with Michael Carter and Ty Johnson. Ty Johnson is the guy that Scott always talked about his thunderous thighs on his podcast. He looked powerful. He ran behind his pads. And then Michael Carter, the lateral quickness, ability to move in a phone booth. That was fantastic. The catch he had where he then extended it and broke a tackle. Michael Carter looked like that dude again. I think these guys have a chance, Clay, to be special on the weekend. Yeah,
I mean, obviously they're not big names, and you're not going to look at the Jets running back group and see and think oh yeah, they can easily go off for 100+ yards week in and week out. And they're not going to. As we saw week 1, they were held to combined 40 yards, something like that. So we're going to have some bad games, but I think that was mostly due to the blocking.
Lowest yards per carry before contact in the NFL in week 1.
Yeah. But I mean, and yeah, you take these grades for instance. Michael Carter, he's at 58.5, but if I'm not mistaken, I think he was in the 20s or low 30s after week 1. So getting up to 58.5, he must have had a really good week 2 grade wise. From what I saw, he had a really good game. Ty Johnson, I really still do like him. I think it's a good combo to have. And then, yeah, I think Coleman being used sparingly is probably the best option, unless because I think Pirine is just inactive because he's hurt. I don't know if it's that or they're just keeping him out. But maybe they want to put Pirine in there instead of Coleman. Like I'm fine with that too. But Coleman actually hasn't looked all that bad either.
No. So Nick mentioned. Sorry, keep
going.
No. Go. I was just going to say Nick mentioned how hard Michael Carter looks to tackle. And it's because of how good he is side to side. You think you've got him lined up. He's so good at bouncing that one extra step to the outside and getting an arm tackle. He turns a shoulder tackle into an arm tackle, and that's how you break them in the NFL, unless you're Derrick Henry and you're just going to run over these poor guys. But that's been pleasing to see.
Yeah, and when you're 5'5", you have a pretty low center of gravity, which kind of helps you keep your balance a little more. So.
And his pass protection was fantastic as well. This is something that people don't look at, they don't talk about. He's going to be on the field on third down because he's an excellent pass protector. He's better than Ty Johnson in that regard. He had a couple of really good blitz pickups on the weekend. So I think it's as Splash mentioned, Zach Wilson's the real MVP on the ground game. He's like Lamar Jackson down there. Yep. He had a nice run for 10 yards, had another scramble where he escaped a sack. But he was actually asked, Robert Saleh, about designed runs for Zach Wilson today, and he kind of referenced Lamar Jackson, said he's not that guy. We've got a few plays dialed up, but we won't really bring them out. I think there'll be some in the red zone like we saw on the 2-point conversion. But Clay, overall on offense, how do you think the Jets are going to go about it this week? Because there were a lot of slow developing plays last week out of max protect, which I liked, but New England didn't bring pressure. Denver doesn't blitz. They're going to sit back in their too high shell and they're going to say, you have to beat us and pick us apart. Yep. How do the Jets go about winning this game?
I mean, I think, and it's what I've been thinking even before the first game, stick to the short game with the occasional couple of deep passes. And I think you just got to let these guys take advantage in the middle of the field and hopefully break out for a big play. I know there's, like you said, they're not going to blitz a lot. It's kind of like the Jets. Jets don't blitz all that much.
Yep.
Or I should say, like the Raiders. I can't believe they've only blitzed twice all season.
Yeah, crazy.
But yeah, and the Jets don't blitz a lot either. So it's going to be a lot of 4-man rushes. And what is? Oh my God. 15. That's terrible. That's why they brought in 2 fullbacks today.
He went from 21 snaps in week 1 to just 2 snaps last week. So it looks like Trayvon Wesco's on the way out.
Really? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I agree, Nick, though. Roster spot for Adams is interesting because if they're going to keep Pirine too, I don't know, you need to keep 5 running backs in this system when you've got 2 guys that can carry the load. I love Josh Adams. I think Josh Adams is the 3rd best running back on the Jets. Sorry to Florida and to LaMichael Pirine, but look, they're not going to use him. So I think that spot can be better used elsewhere. Yeah,
I think I wouldn't be shocked if they're just keeping him because they're worried about a team picking him up.
Yeah.
And I said it right when like the 3rd injury for the Ravens happened. I really do believe if Josh Adams was available, the Ravens would pick him up. I don't know why. I have no intel, but it just makes sense with his running style and how they want to run the ball. Like he's a much better fit for that offense than Le'Veon Bell.
Correct.
And I know Bell's still in the practice squad, but I wouldn't be shocked if that's part of the reason. Granted, I think that spot should Adams. If you know Adams is never going to be your top guy, just let him go. That position could be filled with something else that could really help the team, whether it's another corner, another linebacker, another safety. Obviously, with all the injuries we've dealt in the defense, or even an interior lineman, Dan Feeney is still the only backup interior lineman on this team.
Yeah.
I think it can be better used. I do like Adams. I know he's like, I don't want to say a fan favorite, but like a lot of people do like him, especially because what he does in the preseason every year. But I think it's just time to move on and just get in someone that can actually help.
And guys, if you can find a way to contact Trayvon Wesco and get Nick a signed jersey, that's what he wants for his birthday. I know it was Clay's birthday yesterday, but if someone can help Nick Spano get a signed Trayvon Wesco jersey, that would be fantastic. I need to see that. So get your sources out there and make it happen, please. Clay, let's talk a little about predictions and what we think is going to happen. We've kind of already referenced some of the matchups we think are important, but where do you think this ends up? Right now in Vegas, the Jets are 11.5-point underdogs, which I think is a super inflated line based on Denver playing two terrible football teams and Zach Wilson playing terribly as a rookie. Where do you think this game is going to be decided? How close do you think it's going to be? Do the Jets have a chance to win? Run me through what you're thinking coming into Sunday.
They have a chance to win. I mean, they have a chance to win every game.
Yep.
Whether it's a good chance or not, that's another debate. But, I mean, no one thought they had a chance to beat the Rams and Browns last year, two playoff teams. But look at that. They ended up winning. So I do think they have a chance to win. I think I saw 10.5. If it went up to 11.5, that's just crazy to me. They beat the Jags by 10.
And the Jags missed 2 field goals as well. So the Jags missed 2 field goals. They should have been up at halftime, the Jags. So
yeah, I mean, with them only beating them by 10, yeah, I understand it was in Jacksonville where we're going to Denver. But I really do think this Jets team is better than the Jags.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think we can actually establish something against them. It just all comes down to whether or not Wilson's going to turn the ball over. I mean, I really do think that's all it's going to happen. All that comes down to, because I really do think that our defense is good enough to stop their offense from scoring over 20 points. If you can keep them to under 20 points, you absolutely have a shot to win this game. And I think that's what's going to happen. And that's why I don't think they're going to cover 10.5 and 11.5 or whatever it is. Hey, Nick, same birthday as my mom.
It's coming up. It's good. It's in the middle of the season, so let's make sure we make that happen. I want the Trayvon Wesco jersey at Nick's door. He'll be wearing it on Play Like a Jet Live for his birthday. Let's make that happen. My predictions, let's get into those. So I think the Jets... Look, I want to take the Jets. They're playing 5-1 in Australia. I think that's ridiculous odds against quite a conservative football team. I'm not sure if I'll take it yet. I have got them at the line. It was 12.5 in Australia, a juice 12.5. I've got them there, but I think the Broncos probably win this game 24-17. I think the Jets will be, like Robert Saleh keeps saying, a one-possession game in the fourth quarter. But I think Teddy just has a calm enough head on his shoulders to get this done. I think the Jets will have success rushing, though. I was on a Denver podcast this morning, and we talked about how Denver has faced 2 gap schemes. So the Giants and the Jaguars both kind of run similar man principle blocking schemes up front. The Jets have an opportunity to trouble them with their wide and outside zone runs. So it's going to be a different task for this Denver defense. I'm intrigued to see how they hold up. But in total, I think the Jets will just kind of lose by that one possession. They may lose by 7 points. But I'm going to predict that Elijah Moore has his first touchdown of the season.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I do think, Sal, I don't know. I don't know what people are thinking. It's a more improved team than last year. They're going to have a win going into Jacksonville for sure. Whether it's more than one, I don't know. Back to this game in Denver. I do think that they cover. There we go. I do think that they cover 10.5 or 11.5. I don't really care. I think they cover either way. And I will say this. I think they have a chance to win. I don't think they will win. But if they can win the turnover battle by 2, I think they can sneak away with this one. But he's very good with the ball, doesn't turn it over a lot. You're going to have to force something, whether it's an interception, a block punt, a fumble. You have to get something in order to win this game, because I think they're just going to play a safe game on offense, and they're going to play good defense. You know that they're going to play good defense. So I think if I'm putting a score on it, I'm going to say, well, I did say they were going to score more than 14. I'm going to make it a really close game. I'm going to say 17-16.
Oh,
I think they keep them under 20 points. And I think it's going to be a heartbreaker.
It's going to be a fantastic Monday for me, heading to work after being up at 3 a.m. and watching the Jets just come down short. That's going to be disappointing. But, I agree. I think we need to see the Jets be aggressive. And I don't just mean necessarily with deep shots. Just come out, look to play a good brand of football, let Zach Wilson throw short and intermediate early on, get behind the running game, and then look to build off that. Let's get some scheme touches for Elijah Moore, who's only had the one end and around that was blown up against Carolina. Get the ball in your best player's hands. And if you can't get it in Denzel Mims' hands because he's not dressed, then choose someone else. But look, I think it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a good test for the Jets against a cover 2 defense. Be patient. I'm excited to see how it pans out, Clay. And then the good news for Jets fans, even if we don't get the win this this week, as you see Denzel Mims' grade on 3 snaps this year, what an absolute superstar. Yeah. if the Jets don't get the win this week and Zach Wilson doesn't have a great performance, as we've been referencing, they get Tennessee and Atlanta the next 2 weeks. So easier games defensively are on the horizon.
Yes. Yeah, and that's kind of what we expected. I feel like we didn't really think about it going into the season because we didn't think Carolina's defense was going to be all that great. But then you see what they did to the Saints after what they just did to the Packers. So yeah, we're starting off with 3 good defenses, all different. I think Carolina beats you with speed, athleticism. New England, obviously, like we know what Belichick has done year in and year out. And now the Broncos, they're going to be playing that cover 2, 4-man rush, maybe 5-man rush every now and again. And it's all 3 different defenses. And yeah, we need to get to Tennessee. Obviously, they have a more high-profile offense than the last 3 teams we've gone against. And we got Atlanta in London, which that'll be pretty interesting. And
it will be. The Jets play well in London. That's like our home ground. Maybe we should just move over to Wembley and play there full time.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd like that, so you can actually watch them at like a decent time.
Yeah, that becomes like 9 or 10 p.m. I think when the Jets are playing over there. So that's much more bearable. I can deal with that. So look, that's a recap of the Jets Patriots game and what we're expecting from the Jets against the Broncos. I'll give you one last prediction. I'm going to piggyback off what you said, Clay, about the turnover battle. If the Jets win the turnover battle for me, whether it's by 1 or whether it's by 6, I think the Jets will win the football game. I don't think Denver is built to play from behind. I don't think Denver is built to play in a manner where they have to pass first and look to push it past the sticks. Even though, look, Teddy Bridgewater has a splash put the stat up before. Intended air yards per attempt or target. He's second in the NFL right now, but that's not who he is. Pat Shurmur isn't necessarily that guy either. So you can see it on the bottom of the screen now. If the Jets can force them to play from behind, the Jets haven't led all season yet. Do that, win the turnover battle, and I think they're going to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with my prediction, I said 17-16, so I think it can come down to a single bounce. Whether that bounce is in our hands, I don't know. That remains to be seen, but I definitely want to see like an actual turnover this week and not something that just happens out of luck. Because you're not going to win if you're not turning the ball, if you're not forcing turnovers. That's just not how it works in this league. Unless you have a high profile offense that's going to score points, which we don't have. So you got to force the ball. You got to force a turnover, and I'll say it with you. If we win the turnover battle, whether it's 1-0, 2-0, or 5-4, I think the Jets will win this game.
All right, here you go. I know how we're going to turn the ball over. A strip sack from Michael Carter II on a corner blitz. You heard it here first. Play like a Jet live. The Michael Carter II show. A big thank you to everyone for watching us here on Play Like a Jet Live this Wednesday evening. It's Luke and Clay here as always. Happy birthday to Clay for yesterday. Thanks to Splash, our producer, who's working tirelessly behind the scenes. And make sure you're doing everything you can to support both uSTADIUM on the YouTube channel, on social media, and supporting us together as a channel, Play Like a Jet Live and uSTADIUM, with super stickers and with chats and all those kind of things you can do to help us. Appreciate you, Salmon Jets, as always. Thank you for that super sticker earlier. You're the man. Thanks for watching, guys. Go Jets. Let's hope we can recap with a post-game show on Sunday afternoon after a Jets W. Just remember, later time slot, we're playing 4 o'clock in Denver at Mile High. We'll see you then. Clay, look forward to it, man. Happy birthday for yesterday. Let's get it.
Appreciate it. Yep, go Jets.